what are the kind of things that we can do to try and foster that in young people? Well, I think one of the fundamental things that we have to do, and it's what we have to do as adults, is we've got to remember that bad feelings often don't last, can have a purpose, and can actually be useful because they can galvanize us to do things differently. So if we think of the example of the wee girl who's not invited to someone's birthday party, that may well be the case because of something that she's done or her behavior. That is going to be a painful experience for her, but what's going to get her to act differently is realizing that there are consequences to her action. The same would be true of failure. If you fail at something, then that can be quite a negative experience, but it's that negative experience that can then make you resolved to work harder. That is what can actually make the difference for future action. So it's really important we understand that bad feelings can be temporary and can have a purpose for us. A second thing that we can do is try to normalize bad experiences. Try to help young people see that everyone goes through difficulties in life. It's just life. You know, so you might have some phrases of life's not a bowl of cherries, or these kind of things, so that you're trying to communicate to people it's not the end of the world if they go through periods where there are setbacks and challenges. That is what life is like. A third thing we can do is try and encourage optimism. You can see optimism as whether you think the glass is half full or half empty, but a better way to think about it is what Professor Martin Seligman, who studied optimism, would talk about as explanatory style. It's about how we explain good and bad events. So do we see a bad event as something that's permanent and something that will pervade all aspects of our life? Or do we see it as temporary, as something that's solvable, that it's containable, that yes, we've got a problem at school, but we've got a wonderful family? These are the kind of thinking styles that people who have a tendency to optimism to have. And optimism is really, really important. So it's a key aspect of resilience. Now, optimism is increasingly being seen as very, very important for people. When it comes to health, Seligman argues that it may account for as much as 7 years of life expectancy. That's actually more important than whether you smoke or not. That's how significant this is. That it's a key attribute for people who are involved in competitive sports and so on. The interesting thing about optimism is it's partly about personality. Some people do seem to be born into the world more pessimistic or optimistic than others. But the other thing seems to be that we get a lot of our explanatory style in life from our mothers in particular. So, parents should be thinking here, what am I conveying to my children? When a bad thing happens, am I acting as if it's the end of the world, we're doomed? Or am I acting as if this is not a pleasant experience that we're going through at the moment, but we'll come through it? Because these are the key things that we want to try and communicate to children. So what we're wanting to do then is encourage young people to believe that problems, adversity, setbacks can be temporary and are not all pervasive. So it's about keeping things in perspective. Humor is also a very good way of leavening a difficult situation, as long as it's not cruel humor, that you're actually putting people down or you're laughing at them. But actually getting people to see the funny side of life can be a really important way of encouraging resilience.